Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.
The next change is in section 10. Now friends, as regards to section 10 is concerned, there is some change which is there in section 10 subsection 1. There is an explanation which is inserted. Section 10 subsection 2a is a new subsection which is being inserted. This is nothing but you had your special composition scheme under notification 2/2019 central tax rate. Purely for service providers, there was a special composition scheme through this notification wherein 6% taxes was being paid. This scheme has been imported into 10 subsection 2a. Now because of this insertion of this new scheme in 10 subsection 2a, there are consequential amendments 10 subsection 3, 10 subsection 4 and 10 subsection 5. And besides this, there are two explanations which are added, explanation 1 and explanation 2 to section 10. So this is going to be the entire scope of our discussion for the changes which are there in the composition scheme under section 10. Now for the sake of simplicity, let us first start with the two new explanations which have been inserted, explanation 1 and explanation 2 to section 10. Now friends, let's take a scenario. Let's say this concept which we are discussing is not new, it was already existing. It was already existing in an order which was issued under section 172. The provisions of this order have now been imported into section 10. So now friends, let's say there's a person whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year happened to be 168 lakhs. There's a person whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year happens to be 168 lakhs, out of which 20 lakh was from interest income. Aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year 168 lakhs, out of which interest income was 20 lakhs. Let's say in the current financial year, his aggregate turnover is 165 lakhs. In the current financial year, his aggregate turnover is 165 lakhs, out of which let's say interest income is 20 lakh rupees. Now friends, the question is, point number 1, in this current financial year, is this person eligible to opt for composition scheme? In this current financial year, is this person eligible to opt for composition scheme? Now as you are all aware, here the aggregate turnover would also include the aggregate turnover as it defined under section 2 clause 6. It includes exempt supply, and interest is a consideration for an exempt supply which is being made. So the point number 1 is 168 lakhs is the aggregate turnover which includes an interest component. So question number 1 is, in the current financial year, in this year, is he eligible to opt for composition scheme? This is question number 1. Question number 2 is, you assuming if he is eligible to opt for composition scheme in the current financial year. In the current financial year, for his entire turnover of 165 lakhs, can he continue under the composition scheme? There are two different questions which are posed. Question number 1, is he eligible to opt for composition scheme? Question number 2, assuming that if he is eligible to opt, can he continue under the composition scheme for the entire turnover of 165 lakh rupees? So now friends, this position was already clarified by an order which was issued under section 172. That the provision told that for the purpose of computing the eligibility, your aggregate turnover will not include the interest income. Your aggregate turnover would not include the interest income. This provision was already there, well settled in the order which was issued under section 172. So going by that order, the answer to both the questions would be in the favor of the assessee. Question number 1, is he eligible to opt for composition scheme in the current financial year? The answer is yes, even though his aggregate turnover is 168 lakh rupees, but for the purpose of computing the eligibility, we will not consider the interest income. The answer to question number 2, in the current financial year, can he continue under the composition scheme for the entire 165 lakh rupees? Again, the answer is yes. Yes, that even in the current financial year, while checking that whether he has crossed 150 lakhs or not. The provision is, in the preceding financial year, his turnover should be below 150 lakhs. In the current financial year, up to 150 lakh rupees, he can continue under composition scheme. So while checking whether he can continue under composition scheme or not, even in the current financial year, in the aggregate turnover, I will not consider the interest component for deciding whether I can continue under the composition scheme or not. So both these answers were given in favor of the assessee by an order which was issued under section 172. The same provision has been imported into the act in section 10. There is an explanation which is given. Now in explanation, please read the second part, that is, it shall not include. So we will ignore the first part for now. We'll just go to the second part. So I read the explanation for you. It tells you, for the purposes of computing aggregate turnover of a person for determining his eligibility to pay tax under this section, the expression aggregate turnover, please ignore the first part for now. Read the second part. The expression aggregate turnover shall not include the value of exempt supply of services provided by way of extending deposits, loans or advances insofar as the consideration is represented by interest or discount. So friends, here the same position has been imported in section 10 as well. By means of explanation 1, the second part, let's take an example. Mr. Chotu is a trader. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 155 lakhs, out of which rupees 8 lakhs is interest income. Can he opt for composition scheme? The answer is yes, he can opt for composition scheme. Now by virtue of explanation 1 to section 10, he can choose to do so. Mr. Chotu is a trader. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 155 lakhs, out of which rupees 8 lakhs is due to exempt healthcare services. Can he opt for composition scheme? Friends, please understand, let it be the order which was issued under section 172, or let it be the importing of provisions of that order into explanation 1 to section 10, the relaxation is given only and only for interest income. It is not given for any other exempt services. It is only and only for interest income. So now friends, even though he is supplying an exempt services, even though he is supplying services which are exempt, still he is not eligible to opt for composition scheme in the current financial year because it is not interest income. So here he is not eligible to opt for composition scheme in the current financial year. Example number 3, Mr. Chotu is a manufacturer. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 105 lakhs. Current year his aggregate turnover is 125 lakhs, out of which rupees 28 lakhs. Current financial year his aggregate turnover is 125 lakhs, out of which rupees 28 lakhs is due to interest income. Here, can he opt for composition scheme? Friends, please make this 125 lakhs as 165 lakhs. So Mr. Chotu is a manufacturer. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 105 lakhs. Current year his aggregate turnover is 165 lakhs, out of which 28 lakhs is due to interest income. Can he opt for composition scheme? Now friends, in the preceding financial year, his aggregate turnover is below 150 lakh rupees. So yes, he can opt for composition scheme. But can he continue under the scheme for the entire 165 lakhs? Again, the explanation tells us, for the purpose of computing the eligibility in aggregate turnover, do not consider interest. So 165 lakhs, I'll remove the interest portion. After I remove the interest portion, I am well below my threshold of 150 lakh rupees. So therefore, I can opt and I can also continue for the full aggregate turnover in the current financial year under my composition scheme. Now friends, this is as regards us, this explanation what we have seen, explanation 1 to section 10 what we have seen, this is as regards as eligibility is concerned. Now the second question is, on what value should taxes be paid? This is altogether a different question which was not addressed in the order. This question was not addressed in the order which was issued under section 172. Section 10 tries to address this scenario. Now friends, the question is different. Let's take the first case. Mr. Chotu is a trader. Mr. Chotu is a trader. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 155 lakh rupees, out of which rupees 8 lakhs is exempt income. Agreed. Can he opt for composition scheme? Fine. Now in this year, yes, he can opt for composition scheme. Now assuming in the current financial year, he's got a turnover of 165 lakh rupees. Out of this 165 lakh rupees, let's say 28 lakh rupees is due to interest income. Now the first question which we had seen was totally different. The first question was, is he entitled to opt for composition scheme? Yes, that explanation 1 to section 10 had answered it. Now the second question is, assuming he is, not assuming, it is actually factually he is in a position to opt for composition scheme, on what value should he pay taxes? Now friends, as regards as rates of tax is concerned, we have section 10 read along with rule number 7, which gives you a rate of tax which needs to be paid. Now friends, having known that he is eligible to opt and to continue under composition scheme, the question is, should he also pay tax on interest income is a second and a different question. Should he is eligible to opt, agreed. He wants to continue, agreed. But should he pay taxes on interest income as well is the question. Now friends, looking into the rates is concerned, if he is a manufacturer, if a person is a manufacturer, it is half percentage of turnover in the state. Half percent CGST, half percent SGST, totally 1% of turnover in the state. Now friends, turnover in the state is different from aggregate turnover. Please be careful. Turnover in the state is different from aggregate turnover. Explanation 1 to section 10, what we had seen, it simply told you for the purpose of determining eligibility, interest income will not be included in aggregate turnover. It did not use the wordings interest income will not be included in turnover in the state for the purpose of paying taxes. It was only and only for the purpose of determining the eligibility. So going by that scenario, if he is a manufacturer, he needs to pay 1% of tax even on the interest income. So far, without looking into further provisions what we have seen, so far as we analyze section 10 and rule number 7, a manufacturer would have to pay GST even on interest income, even though he is eligible to opt and eligible to continue, but still he is required to pay GST on interest income. But as regards as a trader is concerned, he pays half percentage tax only on taxable supply of goods and services. Since interest income was already exempted, he did not pay GST on interest income. So now friends, this is the position before the amendment as it was there. Strictly going by the wordings, interest income not computed in determining the eligibility. Not computed, it is not a part of aggregate turnover while determining the eligibility, but while paying taxes due to the wordings which were there in section 10 read along with rule number 7, a manufacturer had to pay tax even on interest income. However, a trader was not required to pay tax on interest income because it is an exempt supply. Now friends, this position is clarified. Even this was not the intention of the law, but this was how it was forthcoming from the wordings which were mentioned in section 10 read along with rule number 7. So friends, the lawmakers came out with a solution. Please read explanation 2. Explanation 2 to section 10. Please read the second part. For the purpose of determining the tax payable by a person under this section, the expression turnover in a state or turnover in the union territory shall not include the value of following supplies, namely, ignore the first part, please read the second part. Exempt supply of services provided by way of extending deposits, loans and advances in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount. So friends, as regards as explanation 2 to section 10 is concerned, here interest income will also not be considered for the purpose of paying taxes inside turnover in a state. So while you are calculating how much tax you need to pay, in the phrase called as turnover in the state, you need not consider interest income. So friends, the net result is as regards as interest income is concerned. Point number 1, because of explanation 1 to section 10, a person while computing the eligibility, whether he is eligible to opt and to continue under composition scheme, aggregate turnover will not include interest income. Point number 2, due to explanation 2 to section 10, agreed that you are eligible, you can opt, you can continue. Should you pay any taxes on interest income? Let it be a trader, let it be a manufacturer, none of them are required to pay tax on interest income because according to explanation 2 to section 10, turnover in a state will not include interest income. So friends, let it be a trader, let it be a manufacturer, he is not going to pay tax on interest income. Let's take another scenario. Now let's say Mr. Chotu starts a small shop in the town of Tamil Nadu in April. His turnover crosses the threshold and he becomes liable for registration on 1st of September. So friends, he starts his business on 1st of April. His turnover crosses the threshold and he becomes liable for registration on 1st of September. So friends, until 31st of August, he remains an unregistered person. Till 31st of August, he remains an unregistered person. His turnover up to 31st of August is 20 lakh rupees. So his turnover up to 31st of August happens to be 20 lakh rupees. His turnover from 1st of September till 31st of March is 140 lakh rupees. So from 1st of September onwards till 31st of March, his turnover is 140 lakhs. His turnover happens to be 140 lakhs. So this is his entire turnover for the financial year. Till the period he was an unregistered person, his turnover was 20 lakh rupees. From the date on which he was liable to be registered and he took registration, it became his turnover till the financial year end was 140 lakh rupees. So now friends, the question is, can he continue in the compositions? The question is, can he continue in the compositions? Now friends, let's have a look at his turnover in the preceding financial year. Since he's starting his business on 1st of April, his turnover in the preceding financial year is 0. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 0. Now coming to the current financial year, he can enjoy the threshold up to 150 lakh rupees. He can enjoy the threshold up to 150 lakh rupees. Now friends, his aggregate turnover up to 150 lakh rupees, he can continue under the composition scheme. Now friends, his turnover is, during the period he was unregistered, it is 20 lakh rupees. During the period he is registered, it is 140 lakh rupees. Now friends, the question is whether his aggregate turnover is 140 lakh rupees or his aggregate turnover is 160 lakh rupees. If his aggregate turnover, you're saying you're computing the aggregate turnover only for the period during which he is a registered person. In such case, if you're treating his aggregate turnover to be 140 lakh rupees, he is eligible to continue under composition scheme because he has not crossed the threshold. But however, if you are also considering that turnover during the time when he was an unregistered person, if you are also considering that as a part of aggregate turnover, his aggregate turnover becomes 160 lakh rupees. Even though he is eligible to opt, but he cannot continue in the composition scheme for the entire 160 lakh rupees. Up to 150 lakh rupees, he can continue under composition scheme. Beyond that, he has to come under the regular scheme. Friends, let's have a look at explanation 1, the first part which we had left at that time. So now friends, the first part tells you, explanation 1 to section 10. For the purposes of computing the aggregate turnover of a person, for determining his eligibility to pay tax under this section, the expression aggregate turnover shall include, the value of supplies made by such person from the first day of April of the financial year up to the date when he becomes liable for registration under this act. So now friends, as regards as that turnover, that is in our example 20 lakh rupees is concerned, that will be considered. It shall include the value of supplies made by a person during when a person was an unregistered person. So friends, now his aggregate turnover is going to be reckoned as 160 lakh rupees. He is not in a position to continue under composition scheme beyond 150 lakh rupees. So friends, after 150 lakh rupees, he has to exit from the composition scheme. For the balance 10 lakh rupees, he has to pay taxes under the regular scheme under section 9. Now friends, so therefore, he cannot continue under the composition scheme for the entire 160 lakh rupees. Beyond 150 lakh rupees, he has to come under the regular scheme. Now friends, agreed. The second question is agreed that up to 150 lakh rupees alone I can choose composition scheme. Beyond that, for the rest 10 lakh rupees, I have to come under the regular scheme. The second question is, while I am operating under the composition scheme, I am asked to pay a tax of turnover inside the state. Now friends, come back to the original position. Here, they say that my aggregate turnover is going to be 160 lakh rupees. During the time when I was unregistered person, that 20 lakh rupees is included in my aggregate turnover. Agreed. So therefore, I become ineligible to continue under composition scheme for the entire 160 lakh rupees. Now the next question is, if 20 lakh rupees is forming a part of aggregate turnover, will 20 lakh rupees also form a part of turnover inside the state? If 20 lakh rupees is forming a part of aggregate turnover for the purpose of determining eligibility, will this 20 lakh rupees also form a part of turnover inside the state for the purpose of paying the taxes? Because taxes are being paid as a percentage of turnover inside the state. Now friends, if your answer is yes, this 20 lakh rupees will also form a part of turnover inside the state. Such being the case, on 150 lakh rupees, you have to pay taxes under section 10. on 10 lakh rupees, you have to pay taxes under section 9. If, I repeat the statement, if this 20 lakh rupees, if you're considering it to be a part of turnover inside the state, then for 150 lakh rupees will be your turnover inside the state, you'll be paying taxes under section 10, and for the balance 10 lakh rupees, you'll be paying taxes under section 9. Option number 2. During this turnover of 20 lakh rupees, this person was not a taxable person at all. So why should he pay taxes on this 20 lakh rupees? So therefore, I will not consider this 20 lakh rupees to form a part of my turnover inside the state. Such being the case, then in that cases, on 20 lakh rupees, my total turnover happens to be 160 lakh rupees. Out of this, on 20 lakh rupees, I would not pay any taxes. On 20 lakh rupees, I would not pay any taxes. On 130 lakh rupees, I would pay taxes under section 10, and on the difference of 10 lakh rupees, I would pay taxes under section 9. So friends, there are two questions which are arising before us. One is, as regards as this 20 lakh rupees is concerned, will it form a part of aggregate turnover? The answer is yes, it would form a part of aggregate turnover. As we had seen in explanation 1, this first part, it shall include that period's turnover during when the person was an unregistered person. But however, while computing the taxes turnover inside the state, should I pay taxes on 20 lakh rupees also? The answer is no. Please have a look at explanation 2, the first part which we had ignored at that point of time. Explanation 2 tells us, for the purpose of determining the tax payable by a person under this section, the expression turnover in a state or turnover in union territory shall not include. It shall not include the value of following supplies, namely supplies from the first day of April of a financial year up to the date when such person becomes liable for registration under this act. So friends, the sum and summary of this entire discussion what we had as regards as explanation 1 is concerned. As regards as explanation 1 and explanation 2 is concerned, for the period during which you were an unregistered person, that turnover will be form a part of aggregate turnover for the purpose of determining the eligibility either to opt or to continue under the composition scheme. However, for the purpose of paying the taxes, that 20 lakh rupees or that turnover during which you are an unregistered person will not form a part of turnover inside the state. This is the entire summary of explanation 1 and explanation 2 is concerned with respect to that turnover during which you are an unregistered person. So now friends, this is the entire summary. We have discussed two different concepts. In explanation to section 10. This is just summarized in the small table. If you have not followed so far, it is more than sufficient if you just have a glimpse of this image. So as regards as turnover from 1st April to the date on which person is liable to be registered is concerned. As regards as turnover from 1st of April to the date on which person is liable to be registered is concerned. In short, it is that turnover during which you are an unregistered person. Whether this turnover will form a part of aggregate turnover, the answer is yes. This turnover would form a part of aggregate turnover to determine the eligibility to calculate the thresholds, whether you can opt for composition scheme or you can continue under composition scheme. However, whether this will form a part of turnover inside the state for paying taxes, the answer is no. During such time, you are not a taxable person. So therefore, you should not be asked to pay any taxes. So therefore, this will not form a part of turnover inside the state. The next question is, as regards as interest income is concerned, this is what we discussed before discussing this turnover during which you are an unregistered person. As regards as interest income is concerned, it will neither form a part of aggregate turnover. That means this will not exhaust your threshold in determining the eligibility to opt for composition scheme or in determining whether you can continue under the composition scheme or not. As regards as paying taxes is concerned, this interest income will also not form of turnover inside the state. So these were two explanations which were inserted to section 10. The position remains the same what it was there in the order which was issued under section 172. There's no new provision which is there. With further clarity being added that as regards as interest income is concerned, it is not going to form a part of turnover inside the state. So therefore, even let it be a manufacturer or let it be a trader, he need not pay taxes on interest income. Mr. Chotu is a trader. His turnover in the preceding financial year is rupees 155 lakhs, out of which rupees 8 lakhs is interest income. Is he eligible for composition scheme? The answer is yes, he is eligible for composition scheme. The next one is, what is his inner threshold for services? Friends, as we all know, under section 10 subsection 1, a pure service provider cannot opt for composition scheme of section 10 subsection 1. A pure service provider cannot choose for composition scheme under section 10 subsection 1 other than, of course, a restaurant service provider. However, there is a certain inner threshold which is given. Let a person be a trader, or let it be a restaurant service provider, or let it be a manufacturer. They can provide some limited services to some limited extent. There's an inner threshold of services which is given. Now friends, the question is, as we all know, the inner threshold is 10% of turnover in the state of the preceding financial year, or rupees 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. Till that extent, a person who is a trader or a manufacturer or a restaurant service provider, he can supply services to this inner threshold. So now friends, while calculating the inner threshold, what is the treatment you are going to give to interest income? Now friends, the question is, Mr. Chotu is a trader. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 155 lakhs, agreed. Out of which 8 lakh rupees is interest income. So therefore, it is 147 lakh rupees excluding the interest income. Is he eligible to opt for composition scheme in the current financial year? The answer is yes. Just now we had seen explanation to section 10 where he is eligible to opt for composition scheme under the current financial year. Question number 2. What is going to be his inner limit to the extent of which he can supply services? It is going to be 10% of turnover inside the state. Now whether it is 10% of 155 lakhs, which is 15.50 lakhs, or it is 10% of 147 lakhs, which is 14.70 lakhs. So 10% of what? Is it 10% of the aggregate turnover excluding interest, or is it 10% of the aggregate turnover including interest? So friends, we have an explanation which is there. Section 10 subsection 1. The second proviso gives you some threshold, inner threshold, to the extent of which services can be supplied. There is an explanation which is inserted which tells you, for the purposes of second proviso, that is to calculate the inner threshold for services. For the purposes of second proviso, the value of exempt supply of services provided by way of extending deposits, loans or advances, insofar as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount, shall not be taken into account for determining the value of turnover in a state or union territory. Friends, this position was already the same under the order which was issued under section 172. This explanation is just imported into 10 subsection 1. So friends, this explanation tells you, while computing the inner threshold, interest income will not be considered. While computing the inner threshold, interest income is not going to be considered. So coming back to our example, in this case, to what extent can he supply the services? He can supply services up to 14.70 lakhs. So it is 10% of turnover in the state, and when I am going to take the turnover in the state for the purpose of computing the inner threshold for services, in that case I am going to take the turnover inside the state excluding the interest income. So therefore, in a way, it is going to reduce your inner threshold. It is not going to be 15.50 lakhs. It is going to be 14.70 lakhs till this amount. He can supply services. Now friends, the second question and a very peculiar question. It is, in the current financial year. Please understand, this question is little tricky. In the current financial year, he can supply services up to 14.70 lakhs. In the current financial year, he can supply services up to 14.70 lakhs. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Now the question is, in the current financial year, this 14.70 lakhs, is it in addition to interest income, or this 14.70 lakhs is also including the interest income, if at all I have any interest income in the current financial year. Friends, please try to differentiate the questions. The questions are different. The earlier question was, when I'm going to calculate my inner threshold, please concentrate. When I'm going to calculate my inner threshold, when I see the turnover in a state of the preceding financial year, in that preceding financial year's turnover, should I include the interest income or not is a question. That was the first question. So to which the explanation told you that while calculating the inner threshold, when I take the turnover in a state in the preceding financial year, I should not consider the interest income. So therefore my inner threshold becomes 14.70 lakhs. Agreed. Now friends, in the current financial year, I can supply services up to 14.70 lakhs. Yes, there's no doubt about it. In the current financial year, I can supply services up to this 14.70 lakhs. Now the second question is interest income. I can supply services up to 14.70 lakhs plus interest income, or I can supply services up to 14.70 lakhs including the interest income if at all I have any in this financial year. Say for example, in this current financial year, I have 3 lakh rupees as interest income. In this current financial year, interest income is 3 lakh rupees. Now friends, the question is, can I supply services 14.70 lakh plus 3 lakh interest income? So 17.70 lakhs, I have the inner threshold, or I have an inner threshold of 14.70 lakhs which will include my interest income. I have the inner threshold of 14.70 lakhs which will include my interest income. Please concentrate on interest income. I need not pay any taxes. This we have already seen in explanation 1 and explanation 2 to section 10. That is not the question. The question is, what is my inner threshold? Is my inner threshold is 14.70 lakhs plus interest income, or is my inner threshold only 14.70 lakhs which already includes the interest income? Altogether it is only 14.70 lakhs. Friends, this situation is not addressed. This situation is not addressed by the explanation which is given to section 10 subsection 1. I am sure you don't have any confusion. The question is, while computing the inner threshold, when I take the turnover inside the state, I will ignore interest income the preceding financial year. Then I'll calculate 10%. In the current financial year, I can supply services up to this inner threshold. What is the inner threshold? What is the inner threshold? Is it, in our example, 14.70 lakhs, or is it 14.70 lakhs plus interest income, whatever I have earned? So friends, this explanation doesn't address this scenario. However, in the order which was issued 1/2019, the order which was issued under section 172, that order still it is not withdrawn, it still continues. That order tells me that while computing the inner threshold for the current financial year, it is the interest income is going to be in addition to, the interest income is going to be in addition to the inner threshold which I calculated as 10% of the turnover inside the state of the preceding financial year. So in our example, it is going to be 14.70 lakhs plus it is going to be 3 lakh rupees, assuming the interest income in the current financial year is 3 lakh rupees. So friends, this result is what we are getting from explanation to 10 subsection 1 read along with order number 1/2019. I am sure we are clear with whatever we have discussed. Friends, this is the final summary. If you have not followed so far, it is more than sufficient if you understand and capture this. Friends, explanations to section 10. As regards as, I repeat once again, as regards as turnover from 1st April to the date on which person is liable to be registered is concerned, as regards as that particular turnover is concerned, it does form a part of aggregate turnover. It forms a part of aggregate turnover. That means it is exhausting my threshold. However, while computing, should I pay taxes on that turnover during which I was an unregistered person? The answer is no. It will eat up my threshold, but I need not pay taxes on it. The second one, as regards as interest income is concerned, it will neither form a part of my aggregate turnover nor it will form a part of turnover inside the state. So even while computing my eligibility to opt or to continue under composition scheme, I will ignore interest income, and also while paying taxes, also while I compute the turnover inside the state, I will ignore the interest income. So these were explanations 1 and explanation 2 to section 10. Then there was an explanation to 10 subsection 1 which told me that while I compute the inner threshold, while I am computing the inner threshold to the extent of which I can supply services, limited extent of services which can be supplied, either by a trader or a manufacturer or a restaurant service provider. For them, while computing the inner threshold, while seeing the turnover inside the state of the preceding financial year, I have to ignore the interest income. That means my 10% will be lesser. My 10% would be lesser because while I take the turnover in the state of the preceding financial year, I remove the interest portion. On the balance, I take 10%. Now friends, the second question, the second result which is coming from an order of 1/2019 which was issued under section 172, after I compute the inner limit, after I compute, I take turnover inside the state of the preceding financial year, remove the interest effect, calculate 10%, I get an answer. Now, can I supply services to this answer and will interest income be addition to it? The answer is yes. Interest income is going to be in addition to that. So, whatever 10% I have computed of turnover in a state of the preceding financial year, that one plus the interest income, whatever I am earning, that is going to be my inner threshold for the current financial year. Continuing with the changes in composition scheme. Friends, there was a special composition scheme for service providers. Notification number 2/2019 central tax rate, where a service provider had to pay CGST 3%, SGST 3%. So those suppliers who were purely engaged in supply of services, they were not eligible for composition scheme under 10 subsection 1. For them, a separate scheme was drafted via notification 2/2019 central tax rate, and they had to pay 3% CGST and 3% SGST. So now friends, this scheme which was available in notification 2/2019 central tax rate, as it is being imported into section 10. In section 10 subsection 2A, exactly it is the same. There is no other changes which is there. Only the nomenclature has been changed. Earlier the scheme was being called as payment of tax at concessional rate or payment of taxes under notification 2/2019 central tax rate. Now this becomes composition scheme because it is being imported into section 10. In section 10 subsection 2A, otherwise concept wise the provisions remain the same. Whatever were the provisions, the conditions, the restrictions, the threshold limits which were applicable in the scheme of notification 2/2019 central tax rate, the same things are applicable even in section 10 subsection 2A. The nomenclature of the scheme alone has changed. So friends, similarly, the explanation 1 and explanation 2 which we have seen to section 10, the explanation 1 and explanation 2 to section 10, which told that the turnover from 1st of April till the time when a person becomes liable to be registered, that turnover when a person is an unregistered person will eat up the aggregate turnover's threshold, but he will not be required to pay taxes on it. And also as regards as interest income is concerned, it will neither eat up the aggregate turnover's threshold nor a person is required to pay taxes on it. These provisions, these explanations are applicable even for the composition scheme under section 10 subsection 2A, because these were the two explanations which were inserted to section 10 as a whole. So two composition schemes now in section 10. Section 10 subsection 1, there is a composition scheme for a trader, for a manufacturer or for a restaurant service provider. Section 10 subsection 2A is a special composition scheme for a pure service provider. Concept wise, whatever provisions were there in 2/2019 central tax rate, the same thing continue to remain under 10 subsection 2A. So now friends, just to have a quick revision, what were the differences or what are the differences between the scheme which is there in 10 subsection 1 and 10 subsection 2 and the scheme which is there, that is the composition scheme for service providers which is there in 10 subsection 2A. So friends, as regards as aggregate turnover is concerned, here 10 subsection 1, I would say the composition scheme under 10 subsection 1 and 10 subsection 2 which lays down the conditions. So 10 subsection 1 and 10 subsection 2, this composition scheme, the threshold is actually 50 lakhs. If you actually look into the bare wordings of the section, 10 subsection 1, the threshold is 50 lakh rupees. However, the government is empowered to increase this threshold to 150 lakh rupees. However, the government is empowered to increase the threshold to 150 lakh rupees. So therefore, for few of the states, it is increased to 150 lakh rupees and for few of them, it is there up to 75 lakh rupees. So because of this, you have separate threshold limits for separate states. You have separate threshold limits for separate states and union territories because the base provision is 50 lakh rupees. The government is empowered to increase it to either 150 lakh rupees up to 150 lakh rupees. The government is empowered to increase it. So therefore, for few of the states, the government has increased up to 75 lakh rupees and for few of them, it is being increased to 150 lakh rupees. But however, the composition scheme which is there in 10 subsection 2A, it is a flat threshold of 50 lakh rupees. There is no choice which is left to the government to improve this or to enhance this threshold further. If at all any enhancement has to be done, it has to come only via an amendment in the Act. So therefore, there are no separate limits for separate states or union territories. Let it be any state or any union territory, the limit is going to be 50 lakh rupees. Supply of services, yes, in composition scheme of 10.1 and 10.2, a person can supply restaurant services up to the entire threshold and any other services within the inner threshold. That is 10% of the turnover in the state of the preceding financial year or rupees 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. Here he can supply any services. There's no inner threshold. The entire 50 lakhs rather this scheme of 10 subsection 2A itself is for pure service providers. As regards as eligibility is concerned, a person who wants to opt 10.1 this composition scheme, he should not supply goods not leviable to tax. He should not make any interstate outward supply of goods. He should not supply goods through an eco who is liable to collect TCS under section 52, and he should not be a manufacturer of notified goods. Friends, as regards as 10 subsection 2A is concerned, here all these four remain the same with the only addition that it doesn't only cover goods, it also covers services. Say for example, the person who wants to opt for 10 subsection 2A, he should not be supplying goods or services which are not leviable to tax. He should not be making any supply, any non-taxable supplies of goods or services. Now friends, to my limited knowledge as it is concerned, I could not find any services. I could not find any services which are not leviable to tax. Of course, there are goods which are not leviable to tax. You have petroleum products, you have alcoholic liquor, but I couldn't find, or rather there are not any services which are not leviable to tax under GST. But however, the wordings which are mentioned is not supplying any goods or services which are not leviable to tax. No interstate outward supply of goods or services. For a composition fellow under 10.1 or 10.2, he could make an outward interstate supply. Interstate outward supply of services was possible. In 10.2A, interstate outward supply of goods or services both are not possible. 10.2A person, he should not be supplying goods or services through an eco who is liable to collect TCS under section 52. 10.1 and 10.2 it was only goods. 10.2A it is goods as well as services. He should not be a manufacturer of notified goods or supply of notified services. Again, 10.1 and 10.2 it covered only goods. This 10.2A covers goods as well as services. As regards as the rates is concerned, here for a trader or a manufacturer it is 1%. For restaurant service provider it is 5%. Trader need not pay any taxes on exempt supplies. Manufacturer has to pay. As regards as 10.2A is concerned, it is 6%, and even a trader, any person has to pay taxes even on exempt supplies. But however, by reading explanation 1 and explanation 2 to section 10, we get to know whether it is a composition scheme of 10.1, 10.2 or it is a composition scheme of 10 subsection 2A, they need not pay any tax on interest. So as regards as 10.1 and 2 is concerned, neither a trader nor a manufacturer would pay tax on interest. Let it be 10.2A on interest income. The tax of 6% is not required to be paid on interest income. Now friends, let's take few questions. These are nothing new. We are just revising 10 subsection 2A. That concept which was there in notification 2/2019 central tax rate is now being imported into 10 subsection 2A. Mr. Billu Barber runs a small restaurant in the town of Tamil Nadu. His turnover in the preceding financial year was 45 lakh rupees. Is he eligible for composition scheme under 10 subsection 2A? Friends, the basic concept of 2/2019 central tax rate was also that a person who is not eligible for 10 subsection 1 alone can come under notification 2/2019. So similar is the concept over here also. Any person who is eligible for composition scheme under 10 subsection 1, he cannot come under 10.2A. Now friends, since he is a restaurant, his turnover in the preceding financial year was up to 45 lakh rupees. He is very much eligible for composition scheme under 10 subsection 1. So therefore, he cannot choose for composition scheme under section 10.2A. And friends, any prudent businessman would not like to choose also, because under 10 subsection 1, he is a restaurant service provider. His rate of tax would be 5%. But if he comes under 10.2A, his rate of tax would become 6%. Mr. Billu Barber runs a small barber shop in the town of Tamil Nadu. His turnover in the preceding financial year was rupees 45 lakhs. Is he eligible for composition scheme under 10.2A? Now friends, since he is a pure service provider, he is not eligible for composition scheme under 10.1. So therefore, naturally he can come under 10.2a. Also his turnover is below the threshold. So therefore, he can opt for this composition scheme. Mr. Chotu is a trader. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 45 lakh rupees. Current year his aggregate turnover is rupees 48 lakh rupees, out of which service turnover is rupees 10 lakh rupees. Can he opt for composition scheme under 10.2a? Now friends, as regards this, if we look into 10.1 is concerned, in 10.1 a trader can also supply services but only up to the inner threshold, and the inner threshold is 10% of the turnover in the preceding financial year. In preceding financial year, this person's turnover was rupees 45 lakh rupees. So friends, 10% of 45 lakh rupees is 4.5 lakh rupees or 5 lakh rupees, whichever is higher. So in the current financial year, up to 5 lakh rupees he can supply services. His 5 lakh rupees becomes his inner threshold for 10 subsection 1. Now friends, in the current financial year, his turnover is 10 lakh rupees. His turnover is crossing the inner threshold. So therefore, he becomes ineligible for 10 subsection 1. And the moment a person becomes ineligible under 10 subsection 1, he can come and opt 10 subsection 2a. Now friends, this is the final summary chart of the various schemes which are available. It is just nothing new is over here. We are just having a quick revision of various schemes which are available for small and medium enterprises. So as regards as threshold is concerned, section 22 subsection 1, that is, a person need not register up to the threshold of 20 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees. 22 subsection 1 second proviso, read along with notification number under section 22, as we have already discussed, no new notification has been issued. So currently we are continuing with the notification of 10/2019 itself, which was issued under section 23. There the threshold becomes 40 lakh rupees. Only for an exclusive person who is exclusively engaged in supply of goods. Section 10 subsection 1, the threshold is 150 lakhs and 75 lakh rupees. 10 subsection 2a, the threshold is 50 lakh rupees. As regards as rate of tax is concerned, under section 22 subsection 1, up to the threshold of 20 or 10, there is no requirement to pay any taxes. 22 subsection 1 second proviso, the threshold of 40 lakh rupees, there is no requirement to pay any taxes up to 40 lakh rupees. 10 subsection 1 composition scheme, the rate of tax is 1% or 5%. 10 subsection 2a, the rate of tax is 6%. Now friends, supply of services and rate of tax. Can a person who is enjoying the threshold of section 22 subsection 1, can he supply services? The answer is yes, he can supply the services. A person who wants to enjoy the threshold of 40 lakh rupees, can he supply the services? The answer is no, he cannot supply any services, with the only exception being that he can have interest income. The person should be exclusively engaged in supply of goods. However, even if he is receiving interest income, still he will be considered to a person who is engaged exclusively in supply of goods. As regards to section 10 subsection 1 is concerned, yes, services are allowed. Restaurant up to the entire threshold and other services up to the inner threshold. As regards to 10.2a is concerned, this composition scheme itself is for service providers, so therefore services are allowed. The rate of tax is 6%. Benefit of exempt supply of services in aggregate turnover for interest. Now friends, the question is whether interest will eat up your aggregate turnover. Whether interest will eat up the aggregate turnover which is given in these various provisions. 22 subsection 1, yes, this will eat up in your aggregate turnover. 22 subsection 1 second proviso, that 40 lakhs limit which is there, yes, there also interest will eat up your aggregate turnover threshold. Section 10 subsection 1, the answer is no, interest will not eat up your aggregate turnover threshold which is given. That means interest will not exhaust your aggregate turnover threshold. 10 subsection 2a also, interest income is not going to exhaust your aggregate turnover threshold which is available. This is what we have seen in explanation 1 and explanation 2 to section 10. Special provisions for states or union territories or special category states. In section 22 subsection 1, yes, there are two thresholds, 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs. So 10 lakhs is for those 4 special category states. 22 subsection 1 second proviso, yes, that 40 lakh rupees limit which we have seen, 10/2019 central tax, there it tells that if you're making any intra-state supplies within these few selected states, the benefit of this threshold of 40 lakhs is not going to be available. Section 10 subsection 1, yes, there are two thresholds which are available, 150 lakhs and 75 lakh rupees. Section 10 subsection 2a, there are no differentiation with respect to states or union territories concerned. Let it be any state or any union territory, the threshold is always going to be 50 lakh rupees. Should you see the aggregate turnover of the preceding financial year? As regards as section 22 subsection 1 is concerned, you are not bothered what was the aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. 22 subsection 1 second proviso also, you are not concerned as to what was the turnover in the preceding financial year. All that you need to see is the aggregate turnover in the current financial year. Section 10 subsection 1, yes, I am supposed to see what was my aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. Only if it was below 150 lakhs or 75 lakhs, I can continue under, or I can opt for composition scheme in the current financial year. Same way section 10 subsection 2A. In this case also, I have to check my aggregate turn on the preceding financial year. If it was up to 50 lakh rupees, then in the current financial year. If it was below 50 lakh rupees in the preceding financial year, in the current financial year up to 50 lakh rupees, I can choose this composition scheme of 10 subsection 2A.
Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.